One can say that this was one of the first modern buildings of the early 20th century. This is the church that revolutionized our experience and understanding of how a church can be. This marvelous design was created by Frank Lloyd Wright, one of the greatest architectural masterminds of the 20th century. But what makes it so important truly depends on our collective cultural heritage. It is recognized as one of the first applications of reinforced concrete as a structural element as well as an architectural one. The story of how Unity Temple came together is as interesting as the architecture. Chicago Oak Park is home of the Unity Temple as well as Frank Lloyd Wright and his family. Just like many locals of Oak Park, the Wright family attended the Unity Church of the Universal Committee for many years, until it was set on fire caused by a lightning bolt. The Unity Church must be redone, the committee exclaimed. And so after days of debate, one name kept popping up in the meeting: Frank Lloyd Wright. And so it was decided. The bishop of the church asked Frank to propose a design for the reconstruction of the Unity Church. His aim comprised of a space that dedicated equity of men for the service of God. 1 week later, Frank was ready to share his opinion and revolutionize the understanding of a church through architecture.
What do you think of church architecture in the United States?
I think it's a great shame because it is a parrot and monkey reflection and no reflection of religion.
Something immediately comes to mind, and I am not a Catholic. But when I walk into St. Patrick's Cathedral here in New York City, I am enveloped in a feeling of reverence.
Sure, it isn't an inferiority complex.
You feel nothing when you go into St. Patrick's?
Regret, because it isn't the thing that really represents the spirit of independence and the sovereignty of the individual, which I feel should be represented in our edifices devoted to culture. I'd like to have a free architecture. I would like to make it appropriate to the Declaration of Independence, to the center line of our freedom. I'd like to have architecture that belonged where you see it standing and was a grace to the landscape instead of a disgrace.
And so, Frank's message was clear to the public. However, there were some constraints given to Frank Lloyd Wright.
The budget for the commission was only $45,000. The process of pouring the forms proved time-consuming and construction ran over schedule.
Coming to the temple, I had this, then I had to get that.
However, this did not stop Frank. The solution was very clear. In order to create a magnificent building with the budget given and have it done fast enough for the heat to serve the community again, concrete was his key to success. It seemed like the perfect material for structure and architectural aspects, and in this way, the concrete use evolution began. The exterior of the building is poured in place concrete, which means the concrete was poured into wood molds to dry and section on the site. This technique allowed the concrete forms to be repeated multiple times. The large structure to the left of the entrance is the sanctuary, while the smaller structure to the right is the Unity House. This dual arrangement demonstrates the importance of both worship and social activity. In the Unitarian Universalist philosophy, the bronze lettering above the entrance reinforces the twofold objective of this modern congregation. It reads for the worship of God and the service of man.
The Unity Home is widely idolized as a morally and spiritually uplifting environment at the turn of the century, a symbol of security and comfort. Wright's architecture focused on the integration of building structure where every element is connected. Wright abandoned all traditional Gothic elements in his design for Unity Temple. Instead, in the Unity Temple, we can see the elements recalled from Mayan temple architecture, everything varying from the columns to the space divisions to the spiritual message behind the temple.
Wright masterfully manipulates the sequence of entrance, guiding the visitor through low, dark passageways before they ascend into the open, brightly lit sanctuary. Wright intended this sequence to be symbolic of an ascent from the secular realm to a more sacred one. The rhythmic repeating vertical lines in the clear-story windows and the wooden screen behind the pulpit extend upward toward the radiant ceiling and exaggerate the height of the space. The sanctuary is the heart and anchor of the building, at once grand yet intimate. The space is a powerful composition of light and geometry. The architecture of Unity Temple reflects the church's progressive social values. Wright employed balconies and turret galleries in order to maximize the capacity of the sanctuary, while also minimizing the distance between the pulpit and the congregants. By ensuring that not a single seat in the sanctuary is more than 40 feet from the pulpit, Wright created a space that fosters equality and intimacy.
And so, the temple reflects the church's progressive social values. Wright created a space that fosters equality, intimacy, which makes the Unity Temple truly one of the most impactful pieces of modern architecture in the United States. And so, we would like to leave you with some thoughts of wisdom from Frank himself.
Understand. Give me something to live by. What could you tell me?
I don't put a line on a drawing board that the answer isn't there. The answer is within yourself, within the nature of the thing that you yourself represent as yourself. That's where architecture lies. That's where humanity lies. That's where the future we're going to have lies. If we're ever going to amount to anything, it's there now, and all we have to do is to develop it.